Last week, Hurricane Helene brought a lot of devastation and destruction into the southern states of America. And one of the biggest issues is the destruction of the cell phone towers or loss of power to these cell phone towers, causing a lot of these people who are in trouble and in need of help to lose cell signal. Our cell phone relies on cell towers to get signal and have cell service. These towers rely on a network of fiber cables to transfer the data that they need to transfer. In these emergency situations, one of the most important things is to be able to communicate who needs help, where they are, how they can get help, etc. So here are some existing tech that helps out in emergency situations like these. Big company names here are FirstNet and Starlink. FirstNet has quite a few varieties of rapidly deployable cell towers, but the general idea behind them is all quite the same. Basically, rather than relying on the network of fiber cables that cell phone towers rely on, they try to establish communication via a very high-flying satellite. The high-flying satellite allows it to have a broad area of coverage, and if you're wondering why we don't have just all cell services rely on a high-flying satellite, it's because the speeds of these connections are quite slow. But for communication purposes like call or text, it's more than sufficient. Some of their cool techs are cows, which are cells on wheels. They have giant trucks that basically act as a remote satellite dish to be able to communicate with the satellites and allow phones to connect to it, kind of like connecting to a Wi-Fi. They also have very small versions of that in the form of a suitcase, but the area coverage of that is much smaller than cows. And even more recently, I think it was in 2019, they came out with drones. The other big company name is Starlink. It also relies on satellite technology, but rather than the high-flying satellite, it relies on a team of low-flying satellites. This shrinks the land coverage of each satellite, which is why they rely on a team of satellite rather than one. But having the satellite flying closer to the Earth also means that the distance that the signals need to travel is a lot shorter. This allows people who have Starlink to have much faster internet connections than what traditional satellites allowed. But they still need to set up a number of receivers for Starlink in order for the overall system to work. And these things are like the size of an old gaming laptop. So hopefully by the time that this video is up, these technologies are already deployed and people already have signal. But I did want to use my platform here to bring attention to the absolute devastation that these people are going through. And since I'm a tech creator, I hope that by talking about tech, I'm able to keep your attention and spread awareness on what's going on.